The absolute asymmetry of the corporate hierarchy lies in the fatal distinction between value generation and value presentation. You were systematically lied to. You were told that exceptional execution would naturally command attention. It never did. The matrix does not reward the silent architect of the data. It rewards the charismatic curator of the spotlight. While you buried your identity in the trenches of raw labor, the articulate generalist was studying the mechanics of corporate theater. They did not steal your work. You left it unbranded, allowing them to liquidate your visibility and present your cognitive genius as their own strategic vision. You have become a ghostwriter for your own execution. Welcome to the audit of credit extraction. The corporate hierarchy operates on a devastatingly asymmetric principle. Value presentation systematically trumps value generation. This is the presentation premium. When you spend weeks building a flawless data framework but allow someone else to package and deliver it to the executive suite, you have completely surrendered your leverage. The board does not have the time or the cognitive bandwidth to audit who dug the trenches. They only perceive the individual standing under the bright lights of the stage. The curator takes your raw, unpolished technical brilliance, wraps it in executive-friendly rhetoric, and instantly claims ownership of the strategic vision. To the leadership matrix, the creator is just an expensive hidden back-end engine, while the presenter is the irreplaceable visionary driving the company forward. If you leave your work unbranded, you are voluntarily funding the career advancement of curators who thrive entirely on your silent, invisible output. Every corporate ecosystem hosts a specific class of operational predator, the articulate generalist. These individuals possess a masterclass command over corporate theater, buzzwords, and interpersonal optics, but they fundamentally lack the deep technical capability to generate actual value. To survive, they act as charismatic parasites, actively hunting for silent high performers who prefer to let their work speak for itself. They will sit quietly in your meetings, absorb your complex architectural breakdowns, and ask for your raw data under the guise of collaborative alignment. Once they possess your cognitive labor, they rapidly repackage it into slick, high-level summaries stripped of your name. When they present this to upper management, your weeks of grueling analytical calculations are reframed as a manifestation of their overarching strategic genius. They scale up the hierarchy effortlessly, riding the wave of your hijacked momentum while you remain trapped in the trenches. The most dangerous psychological lie injected into the modern workforce is the naive doctrine that good work speaks for itself. It does not. Work is completely inanimate. It has no voice, no political agency, and no capacity to defend its origin. When you fall into the ghostwriter trap, you mistakenly believe that your flawless spreadsheets or bulletproof code will automatically serve as your career advocate. In reality, you are merely providing the script for someone else's performance. The matrix treats unbranded excellence as an open source utility. Anyone with enough political audacity can step in, slap their name on it, and claim the rewards. By remaining silent, you create a vacuum that charismatic opportunists are more than happy to fill. If you do not actively attach your personal brand and political voice to your execution, you are not building a legacy. You are simply ghostwriting a glamorous career for your boss or peers. To break the credit extraction loop, you must assert absolute visibility sovereignty. This requires a calculated shift from being a passive producer of data to becoming the aggressive author of your own corporate narrative. You can no longer afford to let your output float freely through the company communication channels without an undeniable digital footprint tying it back to your name. Visibility sovereignty means you intentionally engineer every single major deliverable with embedded personal branding, clear watermarks of ownership, and direct communication links to key decision makers. You must actively speak up in cross-functional forums, articulate the complex mechanics behind your achievements, and ensure that your unique strategic signature is permanently stamped onto the firm's core assets. By dominating the narrative matrix surrounding your labor, you make it politically impossible and highly visible for any charismatic parasite to plagiarize your execution without immediate exposure. The fundamental mistake of the back-end operator is staying hidden deep within the production pipeline, far away from the eyes of power. To insulate your visibility from parasitic theft, you must deploy the interface strategy. In software, the user doesn't care about the back-end database architecture. They only value the sleek interface they interact with. In the corporate matrix, you must become that interface. You must actively position yourself at the exact point of executive consumption, the critical node where data transforms into decision-making power. Stop routing your finished reports through intermediate managers who filter out your name. Instead, volunteer to present the findings directly, lead the executive briefings, or author the cross-departmental summary emails. When you become the human interface through which upper management consumes high-value data, your visibility is instantly secured. The executive suite will naturally associate your face, voice, and intellect with the structural success of the project. This tactical shift completely cuts out the middleman, rendering charismatic generalists entirely obsolete because they can no longer intercept your labor before it reaches the ears of command. You transition from a hidden, exploitable engine into the highly visible face of the strategic solution itself. Charismatic parasites entirely depend on your unrestricted, open-source flow of information to sustain their corporate existence. If you feed them finished, self-contained masterpieces, they will effortlessly steal them. To break this cycle, you must implement a strict system of controlled information flow designed to starve the parasite of their unearned leverage. From this moment on, you must structurally adjust how you deliver your technical insights and cognitive labor. Never hand over a fully polished turnkey strategy document to a peer or an intermediate manager without establishing a defensive parameter. Instead, provide the high-level surface data, the what, while keeping the critical execution mechanics, the deep architectural how, securely locked inside your own cognitive vault. When the parasite attempts to present your work to the executive board, they will inevitably hit a wall the moment leadership asks a highly sophisticated, technical follow-up question. Because they lack the fundamental depth to answer, their superficiality and lack of true competence will be ruthlessly exposed to the executive room. Furthermore, you should structure your complex deliverables so that they are modular, requiring your direct live input, contextual commentary, or strategic assembly to function properly. By making your presence an absolute operational prerequisite for the data to make sense, you effectively render your work completely unstealable. You force the hierarchy to bring you into the room, ensuring that the spotlight stays firmly locked onto the sovereign creator rather than the charismatic thief.